Hi, Bradley. This is Grandma. I'm going to read you another story today, and this one is called The House on East 88th Street by Bernard Weber. This book was written for Paulus. Here we go. This is the house on East 88th Street. It is empty now, but it won't be for long. Strange sounds come from the house. Can you hear them? Listen. Swish, swash, splash, swoosh. It began one sunny morning when Citywide Storage and Moving Truck Company pulled up to the house on East 88th Street and loaded the belongings of Mr. and Mrs. Joseph F. Prim and their young son Joshua. It was a trying day for everyone. Mrs. Prim just couldn't decide where to put the piano. And Mr. Prim's favorite pipe was accidentally packed away in one of the dozens of cartons lying about. Swish, swash, splash, swoosh. Loudly and clearly the sounds now rumbled through the house. It's only a little thunder, Mrs. Prim assured everyone, when a Citywide Storage and Moving man carried in their potted pistachio tree. Everyone rejoiced. The truck was at last empty, and the movers wished them well and hurried off to their next job. Now I'm going to prepare our lunch, announced Mrs. Prim. But first, I want to go upstairs and wash these grimy hands. Swish, swash, splash, swoosh. A puzzled Mrs. Prim stopped to listen. By and by, her ears directed her to the bathroom door. What can it be? She asked herself. She opened the bathroom door. What she saw made her slam the door quickly shut. Mrs. Prim knew she was going to scream and just waited for it to happen. But she couldn't scream. She could scarcely even talk. The most Mrs. Prim was able to manage was a sharp, hoarse whisper of a voice which she used to call Mr. Prim. "Joseph," she said, "there's a crocodile in our bathtub." Mr. Prim looked into the bathroom. There he is in the bathtub. The next moment found them flying off in different directions. Mrs. Prim cried out as she struggled with a window stuck with fresh paint. "Help! Help!" "Operator! Operator!" Mr. Prim shouted into the telephone, and then he remembered that it was not yet connected. Joshua, who had heard everything, raced to the front door to be greeted there by an oddly dressed man who handed him a note. "This will explain everything about the crocodile," said the man, leaving quietly but swiftly. Mr. Prim read the note. "Please be kind to my crocodile. He's the most gentle of creatures and would not do harm to a flea. He must have tender, loving care, for he is an artist and can perform many good tricks. Perhaps he will perform some for you. I shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valente, star of stage and screen. P.S. He will eat only Turkish caviar. P.P.S. His name is Lyle. Turkish caviar indeed, exclaimed Mrs. Prim. Oh, to think this could happen on East 88th Street. Whatever will we do with him? Suddenly, before anyone could think of a worthy answer, there was Lyle. And just as suddenly, he got hold of a ball that had been lying among Joshua's belongings and began to balance it on the tip of his nose and roll it down his spine. Now he was walking on his front feet and taking flying leaps. Now he was twirling Joshua's hoop, doing it so expertly that the Prims just had to clap their hands and laugh. Lyle bowed appreciatively. He had won his way into their hearts and into a new home. Everyone should have a crocodile, said Mrs. Prim. One day, Lyle is one of the family now. He loves helping out with the chores. He won't allow anyone else to carry in the old newspaper, to carry out the old newspapers or take in the milk. Lyle folds towels, feeds the bird, and when he sets the table, there is always a surprise. I only had to show him once how to make the bed. People everywhere stop to talk with him. They say he's the nicest crocodile they have ever met. Lyle loves to play in the park. He always goes around once in the pony cart. And now he has learned to eat something besides Turkish caviar. So Bradley, what is it that he's eating there? Do you know what that is? That is Italian ices, which is like an ice cream that's all slushy, and it usually has flavors like strawberry, fruity flavors, sometimes chocolate. So he likes to eat Italian ices. They also call it gelato. Have you ever had that? Lyle is a good sport, and everyone wants him to play on their side. He is wonderful company. We take him everywhere. Just give him his Turkish caviar and his bed of warm water, and he is happy as a bird. He likes to be in the bathtub. One day, a brass band paraded past the house on East 88th Street. The Prim family rushed to the windows to watch, and they called for Lyle, but there was no answer. Where was Lyle? Do you see him anywhere? Look, someone pointed out. It's Lyle. He's in the parade. There was Lyle doing his specialty somersaults, flying leaps, walking on front feet and taking bows just as he did the first day they laid eyes on him. People watching cheered him on while Lyle smiled back at them and blew kisses. A photographer was on hand to take pictures. The next day, Lyle was famous and the telephone rang continuously, and bundles of mail was dropped by the door. One letter came from someone Lyle knew particularly well, and Mrs. Prim read it. Just a few words to say, I shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valente, star of stage and screen. P.S. Very, very soon. P.P.S. To fetch my crocodile. Several days later, Mrs. Prim and Lyle were in the kitchen shelling peas when they heard a knock at the door. It was Hector P. Valente, star of stage and screen. I have come to get Lyle, announced Signor Valente. You can't have Lyle, cried Mrs. Prim. He's very happy living here with us. We love him dearly. Lyle must return to me, said Hector P. Valente. Was it not I who raised him from a young crocodilehood? Was it not I who taught him his bag of tricks? We have appeared together on stages the world over. Why, then, did you leave him alone in a strange house? Asked Mrs. Prim. Because, answered Signor Valente, I could no longer afford to pay for his Turkish caviar. But now Lyle is famous, and we shall be very rich. Mrs. Prim was saddened, but she knew Lyle properly belonged to Signor Valente, and she had to let him go. It was a tearful parting for everyone. Signor Valente had big plans for Lyle. They were to travel far and wide. They stayed in many hotels. Signor Valente did what he could to coax a smile from Lyle. He tried making funny faces at him, and he even stood on his head. He tickled his toes and told him uproarious stories about their happier days. This would have made Lyle double over in laughter, but Lyle could not laugh. Nor could he make people laugh. He made them cry instead. One night in Paris, he made an entire audience cry. The theater manager was furious, and he ordered them off the stage. Meanwhile, in the house on East 88th Street, Mrs. Prim went about her work with her usual bright smile. Without her usual bright smile. And deep sighs could be heard coming from behind the newspaper. Mr. Prim was reading. Every morning, Joshua anxiously awaited the arrival of the mailman in hope of receiving word from Lyle. One morning, a letter did come, and he knew the handwriting well. Just a few words to say, we shall return. Cordially, Hector P. Valente, star of stage and screen. P.S. I am sick of crocodiles. P.P.S. And the tears of crocodiles. Not too many days after, the Prims were delighted to find Hector P. Valente and Lyle at their door. Here, take him back, said Signor Valente. He is no good. He will never make anyone laugh again. But Signor Valente was very much mistaken. Everybody laughed. And laughed and laughed. And in the end, so did Signor Valente. The end. Lyle's back home with the Prims and his best friend, Joshua. Okay, Bradley, I'll look for another story for you. And I have some poems, too, that I found that might help you go to sleep at night and relax you. I'm going to look at those. And I also uploaded a couple of videos, and one video has all the animals that we see on the way to Grandma's house. So I don't know if you've seen that yet, but it's kind of fun. And then this morning, I took a video of a turkey family. There was a mama turkey and 4 baby turkeys. So I'm going to get that sent to you too. So I love you, and I'll try and find some different books to read you. And I hope you're doing good and behaving and brushing your teeth before you go to bed. And I wish you were up here so I could give you a great big hug. I love you. Bye.